Good evening and welcome to News Tonight, where we get you the day's biggest news and events from India and the world. I'm Tina Jha and these are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi lays foundation stone for 340-kilometer Purvanchal Expressway in Azamgarh. Targets opposition for stalling the Triple Talaq bill. Also inaugurates several development projects in Varanasi. Four persons of eminence nominated to the Rajya Sabha by President Ramnath Kovind: former MP Ram Shakal, author Rakesh Sinha, architect and sculptor Raghunath Mahapatra, and classical dance exponent Sonal Maan Singh nominated to the upper house. India has enormous opportunities for the youth, says Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu at the convocation ceremony of ICFA University in Dehradun. Urges students to visit rural areas to understand their problems and come up with innovative solutions. India is set to become the world's third largest economy by 2030, says Economic Affairs Secretary. GDP expected to cross $10 trillion mark by achieving 8% growth rate. And shuttler PV Sindhu continues her unbeaten run in Thailand Open World Tour Super 500 tournament, advances to the women's single final by defeating Indonesia's Gregoria Tunjung. Well, the top story today: Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid the foundation stone of 23,000 crore rupees Purvanchal Expressway in Uttar Pradesh's Azamgarh. The Prime Minister also inaugurated several other projects in the district. The Prime Minister is on a two-day trip to Uttar Pradesh.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday laid the foundation stone of 340-kilometer long Purvanchal Expressway in Uttar Pradesh's Azamgarh. The 6-lane expressway will connect Lucknow and Ghazipur in eastern UP. It will be constructed within a span of 3 years and will cost 23,000 crore rupees. In his first public appearance in Azamgarh, Prime Minister Modi said Purvanchal Expressway will take UP, especially eastern UP, to greater heights.
इस क्षेत्रों में रोड, रेल, एयरपोर्ट से जुड़े अनेक प्रोजेक्ट स्वीकृत किए गए हैं। देश के इस पूर्वी हिस्से को एक प्रकार से विकास का नया कॉरिडोर बनाने की दिशा में काम किया जा रहा है।
Targeting the opposition, PM said the intention of the political parties have been exposed by their attitude towards Triple Talaq. He also criticized the opposition over washout of parliament sessions, saying the Congress is trying to disrupt functioning of the House.
कांग्रेस पार्टी मुस्लिमों की पार्टी है, आपको ठीक लगे आपको मुबारक, लेकिन ये तो बताइए कि मुसलमानों की पार्टी भी क्या सिर्फ पुरुषों की भी है कि महिलाओं की भी है? क्या मुस्लिम महिलाओं के लिए भी इज्जत के लिए, सम्मान के लिए, गौरव के लिए, उनके हक के लिए कोई जगह है क्या? पार्लियामेंट में कानून रोक करके बैठ जाते हैं।
The Prime Minister also praised Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, saying he's an able administrator and has contributed immensely in the state's development. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Claiming that Kashi is emerging on the international tourism map, Prime Minister Modi on Saturday said a new Varanasi is being built for New India. Addressing a public gathering in Varanasi, he added the soul of the city will be ancient, but its body will be modern. The Prime Minister further added projects worth 21,000 crore rupees approved to keep Ganga clean since 2014. The Prime Minister also flagged off the Varanasi-Balia train while laying the foundation stone of the Varanasi Convention Centre. He also inaugurated the Perishable Cargo Centre. The Prime Minister also said that previous state governments ignored the development of Varanasi.
सड़कें रोशनी से नहा रही हैं। रंग बिरंगी रोशनी के बीच फवारों का दृश्य मन छू लेने वाला होता है। साथियों, बीते 4 वर्षों के दौरान बनारस में दसियों हजार करोड़ का निवेश हो चुका है और ये सिलसिला लगातार जारी रहेगा। 2014 के बाद के दिनों में हमारे सामने कई चुनौतियां थी। पहले की सरकार से काशी के विकास के लिए बहुत सहयोग भी नहीं था, सहयोग छोड़िए रुकावटें थी। लेकिन जब से आपने भारी बहुमत से लखनऊ में भाजपा की सरकार को समर्थन दिया, तब से पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश समेत काशी के विकास की गति भी तेज हो गई है।
President Ramnath Kovind has nominated 4 persons of eminence to the Rajya Sabha. These include Ram Shakal, Rakesh Sinha, Raghunath Mohapatra and Sonal Mansingh. The President nominated these people in exercise of the powers conferred by Article 80 of the Constitution of India and on the advice of the Prime Minister. Ram Shakal is eminent people's leader and public representative from Uttar Pradesh who has devoted his life for the welfare and well-being of the Dalit community. A farmer leader, he is widely respected for championing the cause of farmers, labourers and migrants. He has also been a 3-time Member of Parliament representing Robertsganj constituency of Uttar Pradesh. Rakesh Sinha is a widely read author and is the founder and honorary director of the Delhi-based think tank India Policy Foundation. A professor of Motilal Nehru College of Delhi University, he is also currently a member of the Indian Council of Social Science Research. He is also a regular columnist in a range of newspapers. The third nomination is that of Raghunath Mohapatra. He is an internationally renowned authority on stone carving. Practicing since 1959, he has trained over 2,000 students. He has also contributed to the preservation of traditional sculpture and ancient monuments and has worked on the beautification of the Sri Jagannath Temple in Puri. The fourth nomination is that of Sonal Mansingh, who is among India's foremost exponents of Indian classical dance. She has been performing Bharatanatyam and Odissi for over 6 decades. She is also a well-known choreographer, teacher, orator, as well as social activist. She founded the Center for Indian Classical Dances in Delhi in 1977. The President can nominate to the upper house 12 persons having special knowledge or practical experience in respect of literature, science, art and social service. There were currently 8 nominated members in the Rajya Sabha and hence 4 vacancies. Our correspondent Anu Diwan caught up with the classical dancer Sonal Mansingh, who has been nominated to the Rajya Sabha by the President Ramnath Kovind.
The renowned classical dancer Dr. Sonal Mansingh is right here with us. Ma'am, you being nominated by the President for Rajya Sabha.
Yes, I'm very grateful and very happy on behalf of the socio-cultural, artistic, traditional people of India, the artists of India.
You also being the social activities apart from being a dancer, a teacher and choreographer, what will be the issues of the public you would like to represent or you would like to raise into the parliament?
That's a very good question. Because of late one has been feeling, of late meaning the last, I think, couple of decades at least. Somehow culture, or what we call Sanskruti, has gone a little away, or people have gone away. So I think there are many issues, very beautifully one can present them. And as I said, the connections in India are fantastic. Art has never stood apart. Art has been very much a part of society, of social order. So I think this is a great opportunity.
Ma'am, you said art is a part of society, but do you think that the government of India need to do something at a larger scale to get art back into the society, into the youth?
I think this government has been doing a lot because there are a lot of festivals and events. And they're really very attractive. But there is always scope for more. And there is always scope to take it even further, deeper. So maybe culture and education, because education is something that goes very deep into the young people and molds their thinking.
Thank you so much for talking to us. With video journalist Manoj Kumar, Anu Diwan for Rajya Sabha TV.
And news now from neighbouring Pakistan. Former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif's lawyer will file an appeal against the Supreme Court's decision in the corruption cases against him on Monday. On Friday, Nawaz Sharif and his daughter Maryam were sent to jail soon after they landed in Pakistan from London. The two were convicted on the 6th of July in the Avonfield Properties case linked to the Sharif family's ownership of 4 luxury flats in London. Former Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and his daughter Maryam Nawaz were arrested on Friday by Pakistan's anti-corruption body upon their arrival from London. They were taken into custody shortly after their arrival at the Lahore airport from London via Abu Dhabi and first flown to Islamabad on a special aircraft, and then they were taken to a Rawalpindi jail in separate armoured personnel carriers escorted by police convoys. On the 6th of July, Sharif was sentenced to 10 years in jail in the first of the 3 corruption cases related to the family's ownership of 4 luxury flats in London. Sharif's daughter Maryam was given 7 years imprisonment for aiding and abetting her father in covering up a conspiracy. The trial in the remaining 2 corruption cases against Nawaz Sharif will also begin soon. Earlier in April, Sharif was disqualified from holding public office for life by the Supreme Court in the Panama Papers case months after he stepped down as the country's Prime Minister. Sharif, whose arrest comes only days before the crucial general elections in Pakistan, has claimed his arrest to be part of a wide-ranging military-backed conspiracy to deny his party a second term in the upcoming election. In a video message ahead of his arrest, the former Prime Minister had urged his supporters to stand with him and change the fate of the country. Ahead of Sharif's arrest, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chief and main opposition leader Imran Khan accused him of creating a law and order situation in the country and tensions at the border to manipulate the situation in favour of the rival PMLN. This after thousands of supporters participating in the PMLN rally in Lahore to greet the two leaders on their arrival at the airport were detained by the police. 50 supporters were also reported to be injured. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And Pakistan has announced a day of national mourning on Sunday over the recent terror attacks in the country. The death toll in Friday's terror strike in Pakistan rose to over 130, with over 200 people injured. Terrorists targeted a gathering of Balochistan Awami Party leader Siraj Raisani in the Mastang area in the restive Balochistan province. Raisani, one of the top nationalist leaders who was a candidate in the upcoming election, was killed in the attack. The Islamic State terror group has claimed responsibility for the attack, in which 200 people were injured. The attack in Balochistan came hours after a bomb hit a rally of Akram Khan Durrani of the Muttahida Majlis Amal Party in the neighbouring Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. 5 people were killed in this attack. Dilip Sinha, former ambassador, joins us on News Tonight to share his views on the developments in Pakistan. A very good evening, sir, and thank you for joining us on Rajya Sabha TV. Sir, there's so much happening in poll-bound Pakistan. Let's first talk about ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. We all know he's been one leader in Pakistan politics who's bounced back several times. What do you think about his latest move to return to Pakistan when he could have easily stayed back in London?
This is a high-stakes gamble that he has taken. I think he draws strength from the fact that way back in 2008, when he took on the army on behalf of the judiciary, he supported the judiciary in alliance with the PPP and took on General Musharraf. He was able to worst him. And I think he has drawn strength from that and felt that if he were to stay on in London in exile, as Musharraf is staying right now and earlier many other Pakistani leaders have, then he would have become rather peripheral to Pakistani politics. He would have lost his political base. Okay. And perhaps would have been a little unfair to his own brother and other family members and party members in Pakistan. So he must have felt that in order to stay relevant in Pakistani politics, and also perhaps with a reasonable chance of success against the army based upon his experience a decade ago, he feels that he can take on the army this time again.
Yeah, because there have been several media reports which claim that, this is a war of nerves between Pakistan's military and Nawaz Sharif. Since you mentioned it actually is a war, how far do you think Nawaz Sharif can sustain against the all-powerful military?
Well, it is not just a war of nerves, it's become quite violent as well. All these incidents that have taken place recently show that it is a much more serious affair. Nawaz Sharif obviously calculates that he has a strong chance of winning this battle because there are other political parties also involved in the process. And the army perhaps is not as well placed today as it was earlier. I suppose partly because American support has come down considerably, and Pakistan's only close ally now is China.
Yes.
And we have a reference to China and a lot of eulogizing of China by Nawaz Sharif, by Imran Khan in his recent interview. So Nawaz Sharif possibly feels that if he uses the nationalist plank and the plank of democracy and perhaps a more moderate path, because Imran Khan is associated with and aligned with the fundamentalist forces. And the PPP is in complete disarray because the young leader of the PPP has not been able to create waves in Pakistan. The recent election opinion polls do not give PPP much of a chance. So Nawaz Sharif possibly feels that he can lead the middle path in this process and project himself as a moderate leader and also as an anti-military, anti-authoritarian leader. And also anti-fundamentalist leader, which would be ironic for Nawaz Sharif given his origins way back in the 1980s.
So, sir, you think
But,
looking at the current...
nevertheless, today things have changed for Nawaz Sharif, and he feels that he has a chance. Yeah.
So, looking at the current developments in the neighboring country, the protests, the
audio
poll
recently,
violence,
yeah.
do you think will swing the Pakistan general election in favor of Nawaz Sharif, or do you think it will swing the other way around in favor of Imran Khan?
Well, opinion polls indicate that there is a neck-and-neck race between the Nawaz Sharif's party, PMLN, and Tehreek-e-Insaf, that is Imran Khan's party. In fact, most opinion polls give Nawaz Sharif a slight edge. So he obviously is in the race, and he's still currently the front runner, and his political party is. So he stands a reasonably good chance. Now, of course, Imran Khan is also confident of winning the elections, and he has the backing of the army and also the backing of the fundamentalists. So given Pakistan's past results and the influence that these organizations have on Pakistani elections, one would give perhaps Imran Khan a slight edge in these elections because of the support that he has. But one cannot write off Nawaz Sharif at this stage. And the fact that he has come back to Pakistan, I think, will project his image and give a lot of boost to him as a person who feels confident enough to come and take on the army at a difficult time in Pakistan's history.
All right, sir. Many thanks for joining us on News Tonight and sharing your perspective on that very important subject. With that, we'll slip into a very short break. News and updates will continue on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching News Tonight. The Indian economy is expected to be the world's third largest by the year 2030, with GDP worth $10 trillion. Economic Affairs Secretary Subhash Chandra Garg said this on Saturday while addressing an event to mark the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Garg said good days are ahead as a lot of good work is happening in the economy. His comments come close on the heels of the latest World Bank data that showed India emerging as the sixth largest economy in the world, surpassing France in 2017. The country's economy grew at a 7-quarter high of 7.7% in the 3 months ended March 2018. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu emphasized on the need for students to visit rural areas to understand the problems faced by people living in villages. Addressing the gathering at the convocation of ICFI University in Dehradun, Vice President asked the students to take active part in social activities like Swachh Bharat and develop a national outlook. He also stressed on the need for the students to develop social consciousness. He said that empowering the young generation of the country will lead to a strong and productive workforce to tackle challenges like global warming, urban migration, shortage of drinking water and pollution. The Vice President said that India has now become the sixth largest economy in the world and has enormous opportunities for the youth.
India is on the threshold, my dear students, where world civilization with a population young population. No other country is having this kind of demographic advantage. Old civilization, young population, a beautiful combination. And hence it is all more important that we take full advantage of the opportunity before us and rise to the occasion. Partaking in the process of our country becoming a global power. My earnest appeal to students is dream big, aim high.
BJP President Amit Shah has called upon the youth of the country to contribute in building a new India by 2022. Addressing the Youth Parliament at Karnavati University near Gandhinagar in Gujarat, Amit Shah said that New India will be free of casteism, dynastic political system, politics of appeasement, corruption and terrorism. He also highlighted various achievements of the NDA government, including the Jan Dhan Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana, Make in India and several others. Amit Shah also targeted the opposition Congress, saying a party which failed in establishing internal democracy can never preserve India's democracy. The first batch of Hajj pilgrims left from the Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi on Saturday. Flagging off the first batch of pilgrims, Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi said all preparations for ensuring a smooth pilgrimage have been completed. Naqvi said that despite the removal of the Hajj subsidy and various new taxes imposed in Saudi Arabia, there was no additional financial burden on the pilgrims. He said more than 47% females are going for Hajj this year, and for the first time, 1,308 Muslim women travelling without mehram or male companion were among them. A total of 1,28,702 pilgrims will be facilitated by the government across India through the Hajj Committee this year. Over 1,200 Hajj pilgrims left Delhi for Saudi Arabia in 3 flights on Saturday. Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Saturday called on Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and discussed a range of issues with her. The meeting entailed a discussion over mutual concerns, including the menace of terrorism. Hasina said that Bangladesh and India have so far settled several outstanding issues, including the land boundary agreement, through dialogue. Singh, along with his Bangladeshi counterpart Asaduzzaman Khan, jointly inaugurated a new state-of-the-art integrated Indian visa application centre at Dhaka's Jamuna Future Park. The Home Minister arrived in Dhaka on Friday on a 3-day visit to the neighbouring country. In a historic move for migrants across the world, the United Nations member states, except the United States, have agreed on a migration pact. The pact is aimed at better management of international migration, addressing its challenges, strengthening migrant rights, and contributing to sustainable development. Known as the Global Compact for Migration, the agreement will be formally adopted by world leaders in Morocco in December. The pact was finalized on Friday after over a year of discussions and consultations among member countries. UN Secretary General welcomed the agreement, calling it a significant achievement. The US had initially participated in the negotiations, but it abruptly withdrew last December. And news now from the FIFA World Cup. With FIFA World Cup reaching the final, preparations are on for both Croatia and France. The final between Croatia and France will be played at the Luzhniki Stadium on Sunday. Croatia will be aiming to win its first major international trophy, while the opponents will be attempting to add a second title to the one they won 20 years ago. Ranked 20th in FIFA's world rankings, Croatia is the lowest ranked team to reach a World Cup final. On the other hand, France is ranked 7th in the FIFA rankings and is hoping to win their second World Cup, having won it earlier in 1998. It is the third final match in 6 World Cups for France. Olympic silver medalist PV Sindhu reached the finals of the Thailand Open World Tour Super 500 tournament in Bangkok. Sindhu beat Indonesia's Gregoria Mariska Tunjung in the semi-finals. Sindhu recovered after losing the second game to beat her opponent 23-21, 21-16, 19-21 in the semi-finals. Sindhu will now face Nozomi Okuara of Japan in the summit clash. And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thanks for your time.